Hey guys, so welcome to a new water fair, and as you can see, if on your screen, if you've read the thumbnail or title, it is what if female Naruto was a Uchiha Part 1, and this was suggested by Luna Mobile / console. She's the one typed in, because I've done what if male Naruto was a Uchiha but not female. So yes, here it is. And yes, I know I did say that I would be doing part 11 uploading part 11 today, but that'll be coming out Friday. What's coming out Wednesday? What if female Naruto was the reincarnation of Kaguya? So yeah, anyway. Also, another thing is, thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. Seriously. Yeah, I don't really know what to say with that number, because I've been doing YouTube for almost around 8 years. 8 years pretty much. Been doing YouTube. So yeah. Though, yes, not on this channel, though on my other one. And you may look at it and go, well, it's not 8 years yet. Well, I had the channel before that, which I'd lost the email and password to, so I can never log into it again. So then I made my other one, which is just live streams, and then 6 years down the road, this one came into existence. So this is nearly 2 years old, I think, or it is 2 years old, I don't know. Anyway, so let's get into this what if, because I'm rambling. So, nobody exactly knew. On Minato's deathbed, as Kusuno died, the 9 tails was sealed, all of it sealed inside of his and Kusuno's daughter Naruto. And he'd ran through the hand signs once more to summon another toad, though this one would be a somewhat small to medium-sized toad, as the toad would look at Minato and we would be stunned. How the heck was he still alive? How? Like, he should have been dead long ago from the injury. Having a massive 9-tailed fox nail shoved right through you. That, yeah. And Minato could only guess that the Shinigami was keeping him alive, somewhat, for whatever reason, long enough to do this transaction. But then, if so, then that would mean that Jiraiya's prophecy of him being the child prophecy was wildly incorrect, and that it was in fact, which was just reinforced by this somewhat act of just not divine intervention, but it was somewhat needed to, for whatever reason, future. So he would go he'd give the toad the jar and go and say, well, I put my eyes out, put them in there. What? Why would I do that, Minato? Please. Oh, have you already forgotten I'm in Uchiha? Well, of course not. Well, somewhat in Uchiha. Well, I'm a full Uchiha, full-blooded one, and thus that would mean my Kushina's daughter is a half Uzumaki, half Uchiha. And so it would be the toads knew, some of them knew, some of them didn't. The majority of them didn't, so this one didn't, so the toad would be quite surprised and would go, that would mean, yes, she has the potential to awaken the Sharingan. And if so, then there is a level beyond that called the Mangekyo Sharingan. I don't really know much about it, but apparently from what my Umbu guard had discovered was that the more you use the the Mangekyo, the more your eyesight will degrade, and that only eyes from a relative shall revive your sight and give you the eternal eye you seek. As the toad would go, what? I mean, this is somewhat chuckle a bit, and would go in other words, it's talking about a possible minor evolution. In other words, when she does awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan, replace her eyes with mine, and they will somewhat evolve into a second state which will in others give her the eternal eyes she seeked. In other words, meaning that she would never lose her eyesight when using the Mangekyo Sharingan, or any of the abilities of the Mangekyo. I'd go, that makes a lot more sense. Why didn't you just say that in the beginning? So I can go, don't know. Yeah. We'll just go, well, is there anything else while you pass on? When the time comes, just give them to her, please. I know for a fact that Joy will probably probably try and push away from giving her the key. But please, if she does get the Eternal Mangekyo, if you do become, when you probably most likely do become her, when she becomes just like your summoners, just somewhat tell her that you already know who I am. It's like, what? Why? Ask her, does she have the eye which is red, or an eye? Because my Armbu guard, once she awakens the Sharingan, I've told them once she awakens the Sharingan to tell them who I am, who Kushina, her mum was Kushina, who I was, and yeah, because I've got a feeling who's not gonna tell her, and it's just, at least she would know who we are, who her parents were, and hopefully she's not too angry I made her into the 9,000 Cherokee. And the toad would somewhat just not go well. I will follow. But who knows Minato, so that I know. Krishna did, though she's dead, and just my army guard, and well, Kakashi also knew, but I told him to keep his mouth, shut, and only if my army guard were to tell him could he, something like, and that if he does somewhat see her with the sun, I'm going to keep his mouth shut to hide it from everyone. So just nod and just go, well, okay, Minato, it seems like my time is up. So long, Minato. So long, Minato. So long. And so just nod and go, goodbye. And as you disappear in a puff of smoke, as he would look up to the Reaper behind him and would go, oh, I should have been dead by now. Yes, you should have, but this is needed. She's the one, the child of prophecy, I believe you know. As they were just nodding like, well then, that old guy, you call him Hughes, and he shall be here soon, and once he arrives you'll only have a couple of seconds, so make those seconds count. Got it? Just somewhat nod, as he'd spend somewhat the last seconds holding his baby girl he'd never be able to watch grow up. Of course he'd sealed his Krishna's chakra in her, well, a bit of it, or as much as he could, so that if the seal were to ever, say, somewhat be like enter a very dangerous state, he would appear and fix it. Or and when she comes to get the Fox's chakra, Krishna will appear to help her. And yeah. And well, yeah, 5-10 seconds would go by as Hiroshima would then arrive, as you'd be surprised how enough did Minda outlive Kushina, though Hiroshima would run up to him and go, Minda, we need to get you. I'm dead anyway. He would say, please protect her. I will. What's her name? Minato. She's called Naruto. As he would just collapse then. Though he managed to take the baby from Minato as he fell. He'd let a single tear roll down his face as he's lost his wife, and he's like now, well, not just the Hidden Leaf Village, but also Naruto had lost Hokage, a father and a mother. And to what he can see was the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. And he knew what he had to do. Because Minto's guards would somewhat fall down and go refilled, as he was going to go, no, you haven't, but does say, well, if you're willing to follow him until his death, then did he ever give you any, say, last, any, say, warning upon his death? So instead, someone look at one another for a second before nod and go, and one someone go, yeah, he said, if you were to ever die, we shall, instead go from protecting him to protecting his baby girl, he said. Here's a nod and go, well, that's your mission now. And until she turns of 12, or until she becomes a gaining of Konoha, you shall protect her. Got it. Hi, they would shout as none of them would vanish. And I would go, well, what are we going to do then? Is she going to go to the orphanage, or is she going to have an apartment and one of us will say somewhat think about it and go, well, no, she can. I know this isn't the best option, but it's the only option to stop any one clan being stronger than the other, is to put her in the orphanage for at least 2 years. When she becomes the age of 2, she will move into her own apartment building, and then you can somewhat raise her, because she'll be able to somewhat eat. Eating that, she won't really need. You more so. They would just nod as he was just couldn't get out his words, though they understood why he couldn't. After all, just a lot of bad stuff have happened this night. Very little good has happened, and yeah. Since that day, 12 years would go by, and to some degree, her life was somewhat just the same as canon. As canon, Naruto's just been somewhat neglected in that, though she did, of course she'd still befriend Shikamaru and Choji, and of course as they would grow up, they would ask her, both of the boys would ask her why the heck are the other girls interested in Sasuke so much. She'd look at them and go, I don't know. To me, he's just a brat that likes to show off. He's just a show off. And yeah, she'd the only thing that kind of hinted at her being any relations to Minto would be her blue eyes. And yes, Minto would look the exact same as in canon, because he was somewhat born differently, and as such, his parents had put him into the orphanage because, the Uchihas were always a clan of black eyes and black hair who were somewhat stuck to that. You weren't an Uchiha unless you had black hair and black eyes. So yeah, and they'd thought him having blue eyes would mean that he wouldn't be able to awaken a Sharingan, and so that was another reason why, but of course he did, and he's now dead. And yeah, anyway, so they did, and she'd also just pass, though instead of failing 3 times, she wouldn't even fail once. She'd pass the first time, which was when everyone else did, when they were 12. The reason why was somewhat guards which she'd, well, when she was around the age of 4, 5 years old, she knew there were always people, like, well, there, like, either watching her, making sure she was always okay and nobody attacked her. And when she became 5, she somewhat became aware to where they were, and, well, yeah, she somewhat started having conversations with invisible people. Yeah. Some people just thought she was losing her mind, though the ninjas knew that she was probably most likely talking to, like, an army on duty, or that, or she truly has lost her marbles. But yeah, well, yeah, they'd somewhat taught. Well, they taught her how to do the shadow clone jutsu because, well, they'd guessed. Well, obviously she'd have beautiful red hair. And obviously, like, everything about her screamed Kushina, though except for the eyes, which were blue. Though, yeah, she'd also adapt. Kushina's kind of temper where her hair would flow up into 9 somewhat 9 separate tails, pretty much. And she could also summon somewhat cooking utensils out of thin air. So yeah, they didn't understand why. Like, was this just an Uzumaki? Was this just an Uzumaki ability? Like, the ability to summon utensils out of nowhere when they were somewhat angry. Because almost every Uzumaki they'd come across, well, been to Kushina and now Ruby, both have the exact same ability, and that's 2 for 2. So it must be, right? Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, we'd actually somewhat cut in, well, yeah, we'd somewhat cut into when, well, it'd be the land of waves. As, well, Sasuke and Sakura and Naruto would still be put on a team. As I said, the majority of her life would go somewhat the same. So she'd still somewhat be the dead last, but, well, the dead last in everything except for chakra, where, due to somewhat control, because they taught her how to do the tree walking and then water walking, to just give us some amount of control, though also being female helps in controlling such large and vast reserves. And yeah, and, well, yeah, of course, when she became 12 they stopped looking after her. Well, not when she became 12, when she graduated they stopped looking after her, though they did tell her, obviously, like, if she ever felt burning in her eyes, to come and tell them, and if it was from a mission, don't tell anyone until she got back. And she'd somewhat be confused, but would say okay. And, well, yeah, as I said, we're now cut to the Land of Waves mission, where she'd just somewhat witness Sasuke go in front of her to protect her. What? As Sasuke, well, her somewhat conversation would go the same, as he'd somewhat just wish her that Mal would tell her to please get revenge on, like, his clan and kill his brother for him. His eyes would shut as her anger would, her hair would most definitely flow up into 9. So, but unlike normal, where they just somewhat went straight up into 9s and they possibly waved a bit, they were chaotic. all pretty much 9 tails of her hair, like, well, yeah, were all just chaotic. So she could feel burning in her eyes, as she could also feel power inside of her she'd never felt before. She knew she was well, thanks to Mizuki, she'd found out that she was the 9,000th Jinchuriki. Yeah, the only reason somewhat why she'd steal the Forbidden Skull was, well, she didn't exactly steal it, she was more so somewhat say, well, she told his and she just asked him if she could say take it and possibly maybe learn a jutsu from it. He then thought about it and knew there were some deadly ones in there, but also because of a large pool of chakra, like a majority of the forbidden jutsus in that scroll weren't forbidden to her. Heck, he'd probably encourage her to learn one of them. Obviously one of them was the Shadow, but she already knew that, as that's how she'd passed. His image just somewhat sigh and go, fine, but you must not give it to him, right? Yes, Gigi, I promise. And yeah, she'd, well, who's in? It somewhat raised the alarm. Her, well, she'd also told her guards. So, well, they would somewhat appear and like tell them that they couldn't find her. One of them couldn't, and that the others were still looking. Though in reality, they were all with her currently to make sure that no one got near her except for Mizuki, because this was somewhat her own fight to deal with. Though they weren't expecting him to just release the information that she was the 9,000 Jinchuriki. Yeah, her guards were when she learned of her father, when they told her of her father, but that probably wasn't going to be for a long while yet, so yeah. And yeah, she was just confused. Her mind was somewhat all over the place, though her anger somewhat kind of kicked in once again, because obviously, she knew that Mizuki was obviously possibly a spy, and well, she hated spies a lot, well, very much so. So yeah, she'd somewhat start throwing random utensils at him for a while before her mind would somewhat reboot, and she'd then start throwing kunai at him instead of cooking utensils. Yeah. One of the R&B that decided somewhat to turn around were just back. They were all somewhat just kept quiet. They'd all stopped. What's his name? I can't remember his name now. Can't remember his name for the life of me. Oh God. They'd stopped him to say that it was somewhat all a plan to draw Mizuki out, and that it was somewhat a plan by the Hokage and Naruto themselves. That those two had planned it. He'd be surprised and ask, but why? Why would then? But why Mizuki is just like, well, Mizuki was the one that asked her to steal the scroll of steal the forbidden scroll and learn a jutsu from it and give him the scroll. That sounds very traitorous to me. And and you'd be surprised, dude. His somewhat long-time friend had just went screw kind of her type thing. That's when they'd somewhat heard him reveal the fact that she was the 9,000 Choki, which, well, yeah, they knew her anger, so they didn't exactly know how she'd react. It could be good or it could be bad. Could be good in the fact that her anger would be all turned towards Mizuki. It could be bad where her anger is somewhat thrown to pretty much Hiruzen and them. And yeah, they kept their lives, Susan kept his, so she turned it on Mizuki. Though they did confirm that she was, and that they were going to tell her when they told her who her father was, when that mysterious burning in the eye sensation were to happen. She didn't really know, but whatever this eye burning was, it was something like secret enough to warrant her knowing who her parents were. So yeah. Anyway, so she could feel her eyes burning. No, keep somewhat quiet, but obviously, as I said, she could feel a well of power surging throughout her as she'd open her eyes, as Haku would be surprised. In her eyes stood the Sharingan one mode state, though they then quickly changed and showed two Tomo. Thanks to the Kyuubi's chakra, it triggered the second evolution, or the second mature in the stage 2 of the Sharingan. And yeah, and well, she didn't really know what was going on, just except for just that Sasuke was dead because of this person. Yeah, they were somewhat new Haku, but right now her anger was somewhat taken more. Well, her wrath was more controlling than anything else, so she'd attack Haku. Though the same thing would happen in canon where she'd stop as the mask would completely crumble, and would just, obviously it'd fall out. Her eyes would also return back to that normal blue, deep ice blue colour. And she'd just ask why. She'd say, "You had your precious people to protect, and I had my precious person to protect us." She'd look over and see Sub-Sub had been killed, as she'd immediately sense in between Kakashi and Zabuza's eyes. That would just somewhat go wide-eyed as, Haku just sacrificed her own life for Zabuza's eyes. Well, Zabuza would somewhat say the same thing as in canon. Well, yeah, he would say the same thing, though Ruby somewhat would beat the sense into him that, well, obviously Haku really did see Zabuza as a father, and that somewhere deep down he did as well. And, taught no jutsu and what, very effective. And as Gato's thugs would arrive as, she was angry. She was really not really at Kakashi. She can't exactly be angry at her and Sensei. Well, she could, but she somewhat couldn't be, because obviously it was mission, it was protocol. Haku just sacrificed her own life, but all because of just this midget, or because of this person. As well, yeah, she would cross her fingers and would just but a clone. Well, that's all what Kakashi could hear, though he'd guessed, the shadow clone as, 1,000, 2,000, 3, 4, 5 hack up to, and finally stopped at 10,000 clones would appear. As this was a very angry Naruto. All clones and hers up, and she'd just look at them like, and she'd somewhat say in a cold voice, "You have your army, I have mine. Let's see who will win." As just her shadow clones would just charge at them, at all of them, and Zabuza and Kakashi would just somewhat be staring at her in just sheer disbelief and somewhat terror, because, well, Zabuza was, or at least now, somewhat neutral, but obviously Kakashi was an ally, and, well, Zabuza would just possibly could end up facing this army of clones. All they were clones and could be popped with one single, stab with a kunai or sword or that, but still making 10,000 clones and not keeling over and just standing there like it was nothing. Yeah, that would freak some people out, especially as the Shadow Clone Jutsu is somewhat known to somewhat kill its users, as it has killed a fair few Jonin and Chunin. Hack the max the Shadow Clone had before Ruby had her hands on it was around 20, and that was Minato. She was from Uzumaki and had water, so she'd somewhat learnt the water clone jutsu. Well, yeah. And she didn't really need the shadow clone, because water clones, sure as they weren't independent from the user, well, you'd have to send them mental commands to what to do, and that when they popped you wouldn't get nothing back from them, so they were purely a somewhat, say, like cook dinner, clean up, wash up, something like that, and not intelligence or training wise. So yeah. And Kakashi would just think, could Kushina possibly have done this as well? If she'd ever have the Shadow Clone, if she'd ever learned the Shadow Clone Jutsu, could Kushina do this as well? And Kakashi would somewhat shudder as well. I think, of course he had very much, good memories of Kushina, but he also had memories of her being, somewhat scolding him, and just imagining somewhat of 10,000 Kushinas all scolding him for being, saying mean or that, as, well, of course, when Kakashi lost his father, Minato and Kushina had somewhat filled in that gap, for him. And so having somewhat 10,000 somewhat not officially adopted mother figures, you probably are going to be be afraid, very, very afraid. Anyway, so yeah, she'd kill them all, though she'd leave Gato to Zabuza. She'd, even in her somewhat haze of anger, would still somewhat understand that Zabuza would still very much like to kill the root of this. The reason his adopted child, his adopted son was now dead was because of this jerk. And she just somewhat drag him back by the hair and just plop him down in front of Zabuza and just look at him dead in the eyes and goes, "He's yours, unless you don't want him. Then I'll happily end him." Zabuza would immediately somewhat go, "No, I'll just give me a kunai, kid." And she'd hand him a kunai, and Zabuza, somewhat not really with the use of his arms, would slice Gato's neck open, killing Gato. As Zabuza goes, "So, what now? Do we carry on, or what?" As Kakashi would go, "I think we could," as not Ruby, whoops, wrong person. Naruto would somewhat say, calming down from her anger, would say, "Well, why don't you somewhat join us and come to Konoha? Maybe I'm missing, but I may be able to help you." She can just finish you before running to the edge, to the edge of the bridge and just throwing up. Kashi somewhat guessed this was the aftermath of killing all of Gato's men. Zabuza would just go, "She's joking, right?" It's like, "Oh, yeah, she's not, she's serious." Naruto very much has a way with Hokage, to say the least, so yes, while you may be missing in, she can probably guarantee you at least she could somewhat guarantee that you'd be accepted into the ninja ranks in Konoha, but though most likely you could either be in jail or have to go on parole, and as such you probably won't be able to obviously have your sword with you when you're in Konoha. Though it's your call, you can leave us right now, we won't go after you, or you can stay with us and return to Konoha with us. As then Sakura would go, "He's alive, Frank. He's alive, Sasuke's alive." As Kakashi would look over and would sigh relief, as seems like he didn't fail his somewhat personal mission to never let his team any future, down again, to not watch one of them die. Sure, he didn't this time watch them die, but still, it somewhat sunk into him that his laziness, if he continued to be lazy, his comrades, his now team, could die. His Sasuke would just tell her to get off of him. That was painful. She would immediately, obviously, get off of him and would start helping him, pouring out all the senbon in him. I just somewhat just look around until just feel the blood. She would look at Sasuke and go, who did this? As she would go, I don't know. As the bridge builder, Tasno would go. That would be your red-headed teammate. She killed them all. I don't know why, but what she said, I'm not gonna say, but what she said, and she made, it was pretty one-sided victory. I'll just tell you that, kid. Though if you want more, I guess, or Sensei will tell you, though I'd guess that the fight is over. The battle is over. Kasu would somewhat hold Naruto in his hands as she'd passed out after throwing up her somewhat dinner, or what was somewhat left in her stomach, and just passed out from all the just blood everywhere. And obviously the just load of just clones, and even herself just killing people without any emotion. It was all just too heavy, as she just collapsed right then afterwards. Kasu, of course, had caught her, and Sakura would look up and go, is she? She's fine. Sakura just needs a bit of rest and a lot of caring for. It's like, what do you mean? She just killed all of them. That's gonna put a lot of, like, killing just one person puts a lot on one's mind. Killing around 200, 300, all of Gato's folks that came with him. I think there was around 250, 300 there. I'm not really sure, I didn't really count. But yeah, however Gato folks there were, she killed every one of them. And that is going to put that's going to put a ginormous, that's just a load I can't think of. I don't think I've even killed that much in a single day when I was in. I'll be the only person I can think of that had killed, well, more than that is, well, only really one other person, and that would be the fourth card game himself, killing 1,000 in a day. Though that was during a war, but still. Yeah, and that just puts tremendous, and that's not just her first kill, that's her first kill plus many more kills on top of that. I would safe to say she will possibly forever own the record for the most kills a genin has gotten on their first C rank, their first ever time killing someone and their first ever C rank. I don't think, unless your first ever C rank was a war, and you solo went up against a cool 300-400, I safely say should forever have that title as, well, not title, but just record. It's Sasuke and Sakura just somewhat nod as Sasuke just somewhat think how far is she ahead of him, so just somewhat it's just, yeah, because they'd still have a friendly rivalry, of course. And well, yeah, she was somewhat always, well, not always, but yeah, like ever since they'd become a team, obviously, like her growth in that has been almost astonishing for Of course, someone like him, it felt like he was standing still, but it was simply just the work of someone like who could understand stuff at a much insanely fast rate. But yeah, as you could see somewhat the look in Sasuke's eyes, and well, Sasuke didn't really know how to feel, like jealous, but why jealous? Like, she killed people. That's not something to be jealous of. Yeah, he just didn't really know why. But yeah, anyway, of course, 2 weeks a week would pass, and the bridge was cleaned. Kakashi had used a simple water jutsu to clean the bridge before they came back, and yeah, the only person that deserved a proper burial was Haku, who they'd somewhat done the same as in canon, in the same place as in canon, and Zabuza had somewhat decided to actually go with them, but he had somewhere to go first, so for at least 2 days he was gone for, and the third he turned up with a massive sack of money. He'd taken out his pay already, and he'd looked at Kakashi and said, take out whatever, you're this person would have to pay you, and then the rest would go to these people. Kakashi somewhat nodded and guessed, and it was somewhat just more proof that Naruto could always change people for the good. And yeah, Haku and Haku, I was when they'd somewhat split off, from that talk, Haku had somewhat tried convincing Zabuza to somewhat not follow through on the mission and to abandon it, but of course he did, and this is the payment he gets. Yeah, this is the payment Zabuza gets. The one person who tried pretty much telling him that obviously stuff could possibly very much go down badly, while it turned out to be true, and he'd lost the one thing. Well, not really the one thing, but yeah, the somewhat one of the things that was really important to him. He didn't even know Haku was that important to him until Haku wasn't there no more. And yeah, he'd constantly somewhat go to the grave. And yeah, of course it somewhat just beat him up inside, as if he'd listened to him, sure they may have been on the run from people trying to get a bounty, but at least he'd still be alive. Yeah, and while he probably had never had to witness the anger, the raw, just unfiltered anger of an Uzumaki. Well, he never exactly felt it, but he witnessed it, and yeah, he somewhat also decided that day to somewhat always be on a good side. Kakashi had also thought the same thing, because because both of them did hear what she had said, and yeah, of course it was brutal. And I'm gonna end it here, guys. So in part 2, if you do want a part 2, we'll probably be going through the aftermath and her reaction to her parent, to who her parents were, and the possibly, well, yeah, and what changes from then on. So yeah, guys, if you have enjoyed this, tell me in the comments down below. If you want a part 2, also tell me. And well, yeah, part 11 to Kuma Talk Returns Naruto into Fima will be out Friday. Naruto Kage's Naruto being female Naruto being Kage's reincarnation will be out Wednesday. Forgot then, Wednesday. So yeah, guys. Well, and just one more time, thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers, and yeah, well, stay safe, have a good day or night, depending on where it is, where you are, and whatever time you're watching this at, and well, good. Bye. Let's retry that. Good. Bye.